Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Creators Outlet. I'm joined today by actually a friend of mine from my local comic shop who makes comics, Mr. Brian Rose. Welcome to the podcast.
Happy to be here, Will.
So what have you been doing as of late? I know you got a couple of books up on Amazon. The last one was Dream Sprites.
Oh, yes. I released Dream Sprites a little while ago, and after that, I released Dragon Fruit #1.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure which was first. So.
Oh, that's understandable. I just looked up what It just didn't matter. It was just random order.
Yeah, it's there, but and I know you were doing a signing of Dream Sprites the last time I saw you at at an event at my local comic shop there. Shameless plug. Wild Time Comics, 703 Washington Street in South Attleboro, Massachusetts. WildTimeComics.com. Okay.
Yeah, I also buy from Wild Time too.
So, Randy, I want extra discount this month. I don't have any money this month. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I probably be talking to Randy also about comics eventually.
So, how did you get started on your road to creating comics?
Well, first, I first created comic book characters when I was in high school. When I was 17, I suddenly had a burst of inspiration. It's like something just turned on in my brain, and I just have been creating nonstop ever since. And when I was a kid, I loved reading comic books in the funnies like Calvin and Hobbes and Garfield. I used to draw Garfield all the time as a kid. I loved doing that. People loved that I could do it too. Actually, one time I once discarded a drawing I did of Garfield, and someone actually tried to play it off as their own to get attention from a girl, I think.
Wow, that works.
Well,
Man, I should be better at art.
I was told that, and it's like, no, I don't care. He'll get exposed one way or another. I mean, he just basically took that. I mean, if he can't do it, well, there's no way he's going to make any more of those.
Yeah, and then when she's like, "Can you draw him doing this?"
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I don't feel like doing that today.
Nope, don't want to.
Can you draw me eating a pan of lasagna? Nope, but I can eat a pan of lasagna if you'll make it for me. Oh, so can I, but who cares?
So Dream Sprites actually came out first. I actually created Dragon Fruit initially when I was 17. And it's basically loosely based around instances in my life. I mean, Kylie character I will admit, is based around me. But there's some interesting things that have come about into the plotline that people find surprising. That, for example, one of his powers is actually based around something I would actually get with my allergies, surprisingly enough.
Allergy superpowers. That's a new one.
Yeah, I got mold allergies. One of my symptoms was actually, this also occurs in other people too, in rare instances, that high exposure to mold can actually cause a large amount of static electricity in a person's body. And one time, like my hand had a bolt going from here to here. I was like, "What the hell? It's like I got a superpower here." And I didn't know until much later in my life that it was actually just an allergic reaction.
You've turned into one of those balls we used to touch at the at Hot Topic there. One of the
Yeah,
electro current balls.
it was just freaky that happened. I mean,
Lightning lad.
but yeah, the electrical sparks around my character are based around that. I actually told that to my godmother. One of my allergy symptoms. She's like, "You should do something with that with your comic books." Like, I already have. And in Dream Sprites, I wanted to make something for the kids, but at the same time have a level of humor that both parents and their kids can appreciate together, like a more family genre kind of thing. Like when I watched Animaniacs as a kid, the humor would be targeted for us kids in the 90s and also let the parents enjoy it with them. I remember the first episode, how they were in therapy with Dr. Scratch and Sniff, and we were all laughing together as a family. And I just thought, this is exactly the kind of humor that would be good for a story that parents can enjoy with their kids.
Yeah, when we were kids, we were laughing because the Animaniacs were funny, and as adults, we're laughing because the doctor's name is Dr. Scratch and Sniff.
Yeah, it's like, good. Now let us expand on that. And then Wacko's like, okay, now this is what I want. This is not what I wanted. Get down. Excuse me.
A wonderful show that brought us hello-ness. And my favorite episode that still cracks me up to this day is the potty episode.
I have not seen that one forever. I think one of my favorites was like Clowning Out. Happy birthday, nice puppy boy. Clown! That hurt my face. I just love that one.
I've got it somewhere. I've got the entire run somewhere on DVD. And when my daughter was about 5, I introduced her to Animaniacs, and she went from wanting to watch My Little Pony and Linda Carter Wonder Woman and Adam West Batman to Animaniacs and Bugs Bunny and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, the Looney Tunes is definitely a good foundation of humor for any generation.
And the meme that I shared out today, the young girl calling 911. I'm watching Looney Tunes and Elmer Fudd has a gun.
I do think they overacted a little bit, but hey, what can you do? They'll eventually be more lenient about that anyway in the future. I can already see that happening. I mean, Animaniacs did actually have a hunter in the new season that had a gun and everything too. If anyone sees that episode, I promise I will not spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it. It's actually very clever what they did. It does take a look back at what happened to all the characters and why they are not part of the revival of Animaniacs.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how they're handling a whole bunch of that stuff.
Oh yeah, well, new creators. I would love nothing more than Paul Rudd to come back. He was the backbone of the series as far as I'm concerned.
Oh yeah, I think he's a little too busy getting the Disney money.
I don't know what he's up to, but I did hear that there is going to be a Freakazoid mini revival on Teen Titans Go.
I will not be watching that.
I don't watch Teen Titans Go, to be honest. I've been more working than spending my time watching TV. If anything, I might just take my iPad out and see what's on and just have it decide while I'm drawing on the computer or typing something up. I've been typing a lot lately.
I got this camera so I wouldn't have to type as much. So it's a lot easier to do interviews when you're just talking to people opposed to okay, hold on, let me write that out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's just a lot better this way, and lets me do a lot more stuff. My background of the warehouse here is actually my new loft, and all the boxes are stuff from storage from 6 years ago. My buddy Mike put it in storage at his house when I landed in the hospital in that evil coma. And so I've been going through boxes and finding action figures and toys and hockey memorabilia and all kinds of cool stuff. So I've been busy doing that. And I spent the Christmas vacation just getting caught up on movies and TV shows and reading a few comics.
I've been trying to catch up on all the collecting of the last Ronin for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's like, oh my god, there was like 70 covers for issue 1.
Oh, that's...
I mean, you saw my post about the director's cut. I was like, it seems like they're trying to milk this now.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'd probably be more likely to buy the director's cut. Like, I was never like a huge Turtles fan, and I'm, to this day mad at myself because I remember seeing it on the shelf and saying to Al and Randy, I'm like, the hell is this?
Oh man,
it's a new independent comic. The guys are from here in Mass, and I'm like,
oh my god, that is
I
actually
just
pretty
thought
lucky.
I just thought the title sounded so stupid, so I never bought it, and I'm like, oh man, I could be rich.
Yeah, those things can go at least 10K and up for just that. But if you want something really good that is equivocal, the Aaron Bartling from #1 of Last Ronin is going crazy prices on eBay right now.
I'm like that. It's like I don't want to pay $10 for a comic as is. And I mean, now DC and Marvel are both guilty of the okay, well, there's a new team coming on this so-and-so book, so we're going to reboot that and start it back over at #1 because they know they can sell a whole bunch of copies of any #1. And then they turn around and, Marvel likes to say, ooh, it's an oversized issue. We're going to put something that has nothing to do with that book as a reprint in the back of it, and it's going to be $12.99.
Well, they have to keep up with the marketing. I know that. It's everybody always wants to reboot the story because of new writers and stuff like that. That's pretty much the most reason why this happens, isn't it?
Well, we're in an age now where there are superstar writers with that, and artists too, that their name alone has etched them into greatness. Jeff Lemire
or Jim Lee.
Yeah, Jim Lee doesn't do anything now though.
I'm not aware of his current activities. It was just something I thought off the top of my head. I remember my friend Joe would mention Jim Lee about his stuff with Batman. So
yeah, well, he hasn't done anything in years. He's now just a corporate puppet on a string for DC Warner Brothers. So he just comes out, makes appearances, does an occasional covers and occasional sketches, but there's no conventions for him to go and show.
Yeah, I miss conventions. I miss conventions so much.
We're thinking maybe the year of Mad Max coming up, we might get some conventions back, but the way the states are around here, I don't. They're advertised Altered Reality, which of course is Rhode Island Comic Con and a bunch of other shows. They're advertising dates and everything, but
We never know what might happen. I know.
Yeah, the evil Ramundo will, I'm sure, put a nix in that. Oh no, you can't have more than 10 people. You can have it if you want to only have 10 people there at a time. And I'm like,
oh, I brought a couple of things to show if you'd like to see them.
sure.
For
Bring them on
example,
out.
I brought a physical copy of Dream Sprites to show to you lovely people. Sorry, it's mirrored. All right, here you go. You can see Tabby the cat right here, and this is Boone. He's a 9-year-old kid in elementary school. Woke up one day after a crazy dream, and to find that a shadow turned out to be a nightmare was following him, and Tabby was actually following both of them to make sure they were safe, and make sure Boone was safe from the nightmare. The story is pretty action-packed, especially when Volume 2 comes out. I'm still working on that one. It's going to have a lot of fast pace to it. I've been reading it over multiple times to make sure I get it just right. Currently, though, it's not getting any progress done because I'm doing a job right now, so that has to come first. And excuse me. Here's Dragon Fruit number 1. That's the lead character, Kai, and a Dragon Fruit sticker being put on his cheek. That's actually in reference to the anime Space Dandy, if anyone has ever watched that. You watch episode 1 where Dandy and his robot QT thought an alien was a rare type, but really he was just wearing a sticker that the waitresses give everybody for ordering a specific cocktail on the menu. It's a very funny show. It's made by the same people who made Cowboy Bebop, and it's comical, it's science fiction, and it has some crazy amounts of physics that go into it that, even from what I've heard, scientists are actually say that, wow, this is really accurate. And anyway, Kai, my lead character, he is a teenage psychic, has multiple powers, including mind reading, but it's through physical contact, which is derived through psychometry. Psychometry is a psychic ability that where you can take an object, like say my stylus pen. If there was something I was thinking on it, he touches it, the memory just channels into his mind, and he knows what they were thinking at the time, like the strongest memories that were in their head, for one example. You can also create a special little power that I briefly mentioned in the book named Blue Rage. And I want to keep that under wraps for the time being, but it's a very unique power. And I've been working on a poster to show it in full unleashed form.
Oh, cool.
And one more. I keep going the whole time. My last poster that I did last year of Tabby cosplay. This is something I've been trying to get off the ground. Tabby cosplay is where Tabby dresses up as a character from a different story. It could be anything, really. He's a Ghostbuster, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
And I took a lot of pictures of the Ghostbusters, like different equipment, all that stuff, video game pictures, movie pictures, just to have him standing on top of the Shandor building with Stay Puft Marshmallow Man on fire from the photons, or whatever the heck, the ghost packs right here. And there's Slimer up here holding a burning hunk of marshmallow, putting his fingers up. Right. You can see this on my Instagram if you're interested.
And Brian's Instagram is on the banner scrolling down the bottom at Brian_the_artist 1112.
I also have some latest artwork that I did featuring The Last Ronin. I did my own fan-based cover, if you will, a variant cover I wanted to do. I did ink version, ink with grayscale, and a full color.
Oh, great! So now there's 74 covers.
I'm not official for IDW or anything. I would be a dream come true to actually be able to draw a official cover for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. That would be wonderful, but I am going to assume that until further notice that that's not going to happen.
Until it happens, yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean I've already met plenty of people in the creative community about it. I met Steve Levine for one thing. He's a veteran colorist for the Turtles. Wonderful person. He and his wife were very nice. Joe and I loved meeting the two of them at a convention a couple of years ago. Turns out he's actually the bassist behind Michelangelo.
Cool.
It's like you actually met Mikey for real.
Nice.
And I met Kevin Eastman a couple of times.
Yeah, I met Kevin a few years back. I think like 2014, 2015, up in the show at Framingham.
Mm-hmm.
I was hanging out, and his wife and daughter were setting up all his multiple pieces available for purchase, and he came in the line. I was like already in the room. I was in there. I was talking to the late great Joe Sinat and a few other people. Carrie Nord was there, and woman I sadly can't remember her name right now, but she was one of the first female artists on Wonder Woman.
Oh, okay.
Back in the Silver Age, she was there. And, I had a great time. I was just upset because not that I'm a fan of him personally, but I really like Ethan Van Schreiber's artwork. So I went through my collection digging out books that he did for Green Lantern to sign. And I spent like 12 hours doing this, and then I showed up there, and he decided that he just wasn't going to show up.
Oh, that always stinks. I mean, there was that one time they were going to have Carrie Fisher, and she had to cancel, but that was at least a reason behind that. That was her health.
Mm.
I think she got pneumonia that year.
Been there, done that. Not a lot of fun. I actually had intubation pneumonia, so while they were trying to save my life, the being intubated too many times actually gave me a very specific type of pneumonia. So, that was fun. I don't remember it because I was in a coma, but, I had it. So I'm like, okay, another thing on the list. So you're working on a job now. What else do you do? Because I know you do, of course, your books, artwork. You do commissions. You do video game work too, don't you? Don't you do some voiceover stuff?
Technically, yes. It's just the game hasn't come out yet. I'm the lead character in a video game series called Reincarnation. I play the demon Vile, as well as the other demons except the bartender in the video game. It's been delayed multiple times, partly due to some people having to leave for their career or some delays. I don't know everything that's going on right now, but I know that the creator, who I have talked to plenty of times, Chris Gianelli, forgive me, Chris Gianelli. He is the creator. He's the writer. He makes the video games. We've just had delays from multiple times. The Vile is a demon who leaves hell to track down people who have escaped through hell in what's called a reincarnation portal or reincarnate portal. What happens is that Vile has to track them down, see if they're still evil, and once he confirms they're evil, he makes it look like an accident and sends them back to hell. One of them is let me see. I know one good quote. Selling students for a quick buck is evil enough for me to send Riley back to hell. I'll need to find the teacher's lounge and kill off Riley somehow. Yeah, I'm serious. There was one where a teacher is actually trying to sell his students for a quick buck. This guy Riley, he loves selling off anything he can get his hands on to anyone who's willing to buy. He's actually going to be, and this is already revealed by the creator, he's going to be in one of the next games. And one of my favorites was where this was the Halloween one, where he has to track down a guy named Darcy who does not care for Halloween. And I don't know what, and he has these trick-or-treaters that he got mad at for making his dog bark the whole night and tied him up down in his basement. And he says, "Oh, Darcy, I can't wait to serve you your proper punishment."
That's scary and a little creepy.
Yeah, that was part of the reason why I got cast. The original one, Devin Mack, he got too swamped with his TV career. So as a result, when he heard my impression, he offered me the job of playing Vile the Demon, and I leapt on it. I said, yes, I would love it. It'd be a wonderful, wonderful experience to do this.
Yeah, because who gets to go in and do some voiceover work on a video game?
Oh yeah, and the best of all, it's the lead. So
oh yeah,
that's even more amazing. I even did. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You get the lead on of the main character in an upcoming video game.
I've also done a comedy bit where I did an impression of Patrick Stewart. Tom Antonois, I'm giving you a shameless plug right now. He was actually cast in Avengers Endgame doing a foreign dub as Stan Lee. True, he did. It's like he told me about it, and I was just so surprised. Like, all he had to do was say, "Make love, not war," in another language.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, it was really awesome. I had to do Patrick Stewart for a bit with the Muppets that he meets Rolf the dog, and they're singing a song. And I'm the one who's the director.
That's pretty good.
Thank you. There was an impression I did for a voice acting exercise in a voice acting community I do every once in a while. I haven't done a challenge for that in a while, but it was fun to do back when it was starting out, and I still try to do it. And I'd like to do more voice acting in the future. It's just some of these things take time. That's all there really is to this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's Steve Bloomvox community, and sometimes there are people that get involved. Like once in a while, you might be lucky to see something like a post from, from Steve Bloom. Like, he's a very nice person. I learned a lot from asking him a couple of questions every once in a while when he has these Ask Me Anything. Like, I asked him what's it like playing cannon fodder in a video game. He said, "That's your bread and butter right there, Brian. That's the easy, because people need these voices, and that's how you make a lot of your money." And I got the idea when I asked him, why I asked him, because of playing the video game Metro Redux on my Nintendo Switch a while back, which is a pretty good first-person shooter.
Yeah, my daughter just got a Switch for Christmas, so she is playing that animal thingy game.
Like Animal Crossing, that came out this year. That has been so explosive, and
she's been asking for her own Switch in that game for pretty much a year now.
I have heard rumors there's going to be a new Switch coming out potentially next year at the start of the fiscal year.
Of course there is. And knowing Nintendo, it's just going to be a new casing but it's going to be the same game.
What I have heard in terms of rumors, like mini LED screen, yes, the case will be magnesium alloy instead of plastic, for one thing, from what I have heard, and that this will have 4K upscaling, and maybe I'm hoping this, but DLSS AI that'll help lower the burden on the processor.
So cut down on some of the superheating there.
Oh yeah, it'll help with the graphics. Like, you know how things are pixelated sometimes in a video game? It'll get rid of that. It'll smoothen it out and make it look nicer, and it's less of a burden on the processor and the graphics card.
Yeah, I saw a cool piece to like a big grip handle that you could actually slide the entire switch into.
Yeah, I've seen those.
And it actually you slide it in, but it actually doesn't come in contact with the system.
I think that might be the Satisfy grip that came out, that you put the whole console in with the Joy-Cons and everything, and it gives a little handle, feels more comfortable with your hands.
Yeah, it feels more like an Xbox controller at that point than like a little Nintendo thing.
Yeah, they do need to make bigger Joy-Cons. There's like the Hori Split Pad Pro, where it's like having a Pro controller split in half and just put it on the edges. There's no batteries and there's no functions of wireless connectivity or anything like that. It's more for handheld only, but you can at least have it on there and keep it in the dock. But it is pretty nice from what I have heard.
Yeah, because I mean, I can't play anything that's like, I got pretty big hands, so I'm like, it's like I'm like, trying to. I'm like I've loved all the PlayStation units I've had, but the controllers are just, after I'm playing for about 40, half hour, 45 minutes, my hands just stop cramping up from the way you have to hold the controller. So
it does happen. I was playing Resident Evil 4 recently on my Switch, and was gonna try to get Dark Souls, but sold out right now where I was going to get it, so not now. Oh, I never did mention one thing interesting about Tabby, about him. Tabby is actually gifted with, hang on, I got a different copy here. Oh, here it is, it's buried. Tabby here, he's actually got super speed, super strength, and he's able to shoot energy slashes from his claws. Like, I can actually show you quickly in the book. Does that to a nightmare of one stroke of his claws. I even have a voice for Tabby. It's too late to back out now. And let's see it.
Every time I hear about an animal with like some kind of powers, I always try to like pair it up with something that is familiar to me. So I would think of your character Tabby, but in the back of my head I'd be thinking the Red Lantern cat.
Maybe. He does get mad from time to time. I mean, he especially hates to be called Puss in Boots. Everybody laughs when I tell him that, and that's why I did it, because I knew it made people laugh. It's sort of inspired from Full Metal Alchemist, where Edward Elric hates to be called anything revolving around his height. Like, this shrimp here, it's like, and that's what happens when you call him Puss in Boots.
And like Tabby is any better than Puss in Boots. My name!
When you think about it, he's based around his backstory, being called that nonstop by everybody. It is going to get on your nerves after a while. It's like, no, that is not my name. Stop calling me that. It's like, I'm asking you nicely. It's like, knock it off.
Yeah,
stuff like that.
it's kind of like my daughter. Her name is Kirsten, and now she doesn't want to be called Kirsten. She wants to just be called K for short. And I'll blame her grandfather for that because her grandfather couldn't pronounce Kirsten. So he would just keep calling her K.
I've known a couple of girls that, well, they're all basically named Catherine or something like that, and one of them had called herself Kay just to separate herself from her friends. That was pretty much the reason behind that.
I think my daughter's is the fact that she's lazy. And if she can get the teachers to call her K, then she just has to put a letter K for her name.
To each their own. I'm not going to judge.
You know, she's too busy playing Animal Crossing and watching and drawing anime.
That's an interesting thing, though. Anime, I haven't really watched too much lately. I think the last one I watched was something I tried on Hulu called Guilty Crown, just for the heck of it. It was okay. It got better as it went. I can say that without a doubt. One of my all-time favorite animes. Obviously, I'm a big Dragon Ball fan. Tabby's color, his fur color, based around Super Saiyans. I'll admit that right off the bat. Excuse me. And what happens was I wanted to capture some of the best animation that came from the 90s with my work, such as, for one example, Batman the Animated Series was actually animated by TMS in the 90s until later on Warner Bros. Took it over when their contract expired. And TMS also animated Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures. They did a great job back in the 90s, all that stuff. I loved what they did, and that's why I wanted to capture that kind of stuff, because anime for my generation has been a huge impact, whether we were aware of it or not back then.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little older than you, but my two favorite anime films, opposed to just actual TV runs, would have to be Ninja Scroll and, of course, Akira.
Well, I've seen both. I got Akira among my video library. I have the dub with Johnny Bosch versus Cam Clark from the 80s. I want to get the one to see Cam Clark dub from the 80s a long time ago. That would be interesting to watch. I know Funimation reprinted that one to evolve that dub. I just gotta find it.
Yeah, they just released it again. They just released like a 4K version.
Oh yeah, you're right. I heard about that. I forgot about that. I haven't paid attention for a while. Have you ever watched Lupin the Third? It's a comedy, basically.
I watched. I was pretty much, as far as anime stuff went, I was kind of a basic bitch. I watched Star Blazers. I watched like all the Force 5 shows. I have an undying hatred of DBZ. I tried watching it, and of course, Ray that fills in at the shop. He's a big DBZ fan too.
Don't worry, I won't talk your ear off about that stuff. It's okay.
I just can't. I can't stand like the goofy faces and the eyes going all wanky. Once in a while, I can deal with it, but I tried to get into it, and I'm like, no, I don't really like this.
Hey, it's okay. I mean, some of those popular stuff, you're not going to expect everybody to like it. I know not everybody's going to like my stuff too, and I've accepted that. So, hey, whoever enjoys it, I'm glad you enjoyed it. So thank you.
Yeah. I remember that year, my friend came down with his daughter and her friend, and got Sprite's autographed from you, and Every once in a while he'll shoot me a message. Hey, is there any new anime stuff at the store? Yeah. Has your friend made any new anime stuff? I go, I'll shoot him a message, but I know if he comes out with another book, there'll be a couple of copies at the shop, I'm sure.
Yeah, I try to give Randy something every time I go visit if I can. I will say this: I have been working on Dream Sprites Volume 2. It's just this year, aside the pandemic and all that, my health had a nasty decline lately until recent. So that's part of the why there has been a delay. My allergies, to sum it up, got in the way mostly. It was terrible.
It was a horrible year.
It would have been horrible even without the pandemic for me. That's all I can really say about that one.
Yeah. I know I had that year. It was 2016 with all the surgeries and the coma and pretty much being paralyzed for close to a year.
Well, if your friend's daughter is on Instagram, she can always just follow me if she wants. I always post up stuff every once in a while.
Yeah. So obviously everybody can see that Brian's IG tag is scrolling in the banner. His other info is in the show notes, either up above or down below, depending on whether you're watching us on Facebook or YouTube.
I also can let everybody know I have been working on other stories too for the future. I'm going to try eventually to debut a one-shot that I would love people to take a look at in the future. I've also been writing a fantasy story that takes a genre that has been played to death and basically throwing it out the window in some manners of speaking. It's a story. You know have you ever heard of anime where people get transported to a different world and they're the hero and they get these powers that are nicknamed cheat skills and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I take that and I put a splash of reality on that one. As a subtle jab at the genre, because it has been done a lot. I mean, I have read this stuff, I watched it. Some of it's good, some of it is just, why do they keep doing this? But it's profitable. That's why it's going on right now. Like, I can name off the top of my head what has been done the most. For example, you're reborn in the world, you're reincarnated, you're blessed by a god or a goddess with superpowers that make you beyond everybody's comprehension. You bring something from your planet to their planet that has not been invented yet. And the number one thing that always goes on is the Adventurers Guild with the same old like F to S tier rank. That's always been done.
So what you're telling me is I should probably either always carry coffee milk, coffee syrup, or Dell's frozen lemonade on me at all times.
That's up to you. But yeah, I take some. The fantasy story is very interesting. It's got no. The lead character is not human. I'm going to say that much. And the biggest revelations of the plot I really love. It's one of the most unique stories I've ever come up with, and I can't wait to get it out there in the future. There's going to be goblins and elves and stuff like that, but different ways of telling the story. I do have a character that David Bowie fans will appreciate because they're modeled after the Goblin King from from Jim Henson's Labyrinth.
Cool.
And let's see, what else I've been working on. I've been working on story arcs for Dragon Fruit, and recently came up with a new concept for Dream Sprites that I really enjoyed, that I think people will really get a kick a kick out of, especially the younger readers, because of the implications that this, what I'll call power up, will bring. So let's see what else. I recently drew some characters. Did Last Ronin, and let's see. I've also tried for Christmas. Well, what did you get for Christmas, Will?
I got nothing.
Okay, I got a few movies, some clothes, and nothing too spectacular, just some basic stuff.
Well, I'm an only child, and my mother passed away a number of years ago, and my daughter's 12, so I'll probably get a card and something that she made, which, of course, I will love because she made it. But I did get one thing, but I bought that for myself, and that was just kind of like a new old-fashioned shave kit with the brush and the
I get you.
stuff, So
My gift to myself was Last Ronin comics.
if I could have gotten one, I would have, and I just wanted to read it. And I have become addicted to the oversized books again.
Mm-hmm.
Starting of course with DC's Black Label, and plus it just brings me back to the old Treasury editions from like the 70s and the 80s.
Oh, by the way, here it is.
Oh, it's not even full. It's not even full size. It's kind of like it's oversized, but it's narrow.
I don't remember, but I know they're bigger, slightly bigger. This apparently is already on the third printing.
Oh yeah, what's the director's cut? Is that like fourth print or something?
I guess first printing of director's cut. It's supposed to have more pages to it.
Yeah, like behind supposed to be like behind the scenes stuff and various other things. I know the one of the reprints that Kevin originally did for the original first issue of TMNT. Himself and his partner there,
Peter Laird.
Yeah, did I thank you. I couldn't think of his name for some reason. All I could keep seeing was like an image of him in my mind, But they talked about like a billion different things that happened, So it was like a really cool, self interview basically, talking about everything that happened like years later.
Yeah. Earlier this year, Kevin Eastman actually hosted a watch party for the first two movies and provided commentary for them. It was actually a really wonderful experience. I learned so much from watching that.
I heard about it, but I was busy when that was going on. My daughter was actually here visiting, and I was like,
well, family's more important.
Yeah. I don't get to see her that often, so when I do, it's like, I kind of like drop everything.
I understand. I mean, I have two nephews and a niece, so I got to take care of them every once in a while when they come to visit. They love Tabby too, by the way.
Well, at least you have a good form of entertaining them.
Yeah, they love it when I do voices for them and play fun music for them to listen to. I think one of the funniest times my nephew was huddling around me is like, "Watch out, I fart." They also love it when I do a pirate voice. It's like, you be walking that plank, you scurvy dog, if you don't be good on the swings with your sister."
You keep it up, I'm gonna come hang out.
There was also this one time that this actually invoked vile in me when I did it. But my nephew was playing around and horsing around in the room, bouncing on the bed, and I just flipped the switch, turned off the light. He just screamed his head off. I was like, I'm laughing like vile inside. It's like, now, in all honesty, on the inside, I was laughing when I committed that evil deed. Chris got one heck of a laugh out of that one. I hope that actually gets put in as one of the puzzles. So you got to turn off the nightlight on the kid in order to get past them as a distraction. That'd be funny.
Yeah, I remember I had to keep buying various nightlights for my daughter when she was little because she didn't like the dark, and she didn't want her bedroom door closed because then it was darker, and then she started getting older, and she would like wake up in the middle of the night and hear me snoring, and she would come sneak and start feeling around underneath my pillows for my cell phone, and then crack my encryption code for my phone, and
Smart
then
kid.
go in her room and watch cartoons on YouTube or Netflix or something all night.
Yeah, one time my nephew was up. He what happened was he was feeling stuffy or something. I just fed him some chicken broth while I let him watch someone online play Luigi's Mansion 3 streaming, and he got a kick out of that. He enjoyed that. He's always been I got him into Mario early in his life. He loves Mario and Luigi. He loved playing and watching me play Mario. So I also do a Mario impression too. It's me, Mario. Hello. Hello, it's a Luigi. Luigi time. My name now, Luigi, is Luigi. Luigi.
A friend of mine let me borrow his little mini classic Nintendo that has like all the games programmed into it.
Oh yeah, the NES Classic.
Yeah. So when I was, it's the cheap knockoff version of that. So it's got like 600 or 800 games on it or whatever, and so he plugged it in on the old TV that I had when I was living in Seekonk before I moved to Taberton.
Mm-hmm.
And my daughter got her first experience playing Mario, and loved it and hated it at the same time.
My nephew's first game, I think, was Mario Odyssey. I tried to get him to play Super Mario World, but he was having a hard time playing it, and he likes to rush sometimes through the games. That's part of it. He just wants to keep going and going and going. And I just don't. You gotta slow down. You gotta slow down if you want to not go.
Like that famous scene in Taxi where Louis put the Pac-Man game in the driver's lounge there out in the main room, and he convinced Iggy to get all his pay in quarters.
Oh,
And
Pac-Man fever.
He'd put a quarter in. Oh, that's the greatest thrill of my life.
Mm. And people thought pinball was addictive back then.
Mm-hmm. And Iggy would go and put all his money in the Pac-Man machine, lose all his quarters, and then I think Judd's character Alex would try to talk some sense to him as Louis sneaks out and goes behind, unlocks it, and empties like all the quarters into his hands and runs back to the office.
Yeah, I'm guessing that that reminds me of something they did with SpongeBob as well. I'm sure they referenced that episode specifically for that, without a doubt. It's like money, money, money.
There's always great sitcom references to be used, and ones that are just like so famous, like the WKRP Thanksgiving episode. You don't
I
know that one?
No, no, I'm afraid not. I don't know what
Oh,
WKRP stands for. That's the real.
it's a sitcom at a radio station in the 70s.
Oh, I was born in '86. That's why.
Oh, that's probably why. Uh, it's a famous video to be posted and shared all over social media around in November. The basic gist of it is they have they have the goofiest reporter that you've ever seen, um, and he's always bragging that I'm a winner of the Buckeye Newshawk Award. His office doesn't have walls, but he draws lines on the floor to where the walls would be if he had them. And he's out covering he's doing a live remote at a mall, but back then a mall would be a strip mall.
Mhm.
And the owner of the station and the sales manager, the owner decided he was going to give away turkeys for Thanksgiving. Um, and they weren't frozen turkeys; they were
Oh.
live turkeys.
Oh.
And he did it in a helicopter.
Who brought the cranberry sauce?
One of his lines at the very end, as he's like a complete mess, hair everywhere, collar sticking up, tie jumbled, feathers covering him.
And I'm sure lots of scat.
Hmm. For the love of God, I thought turkeys could fly.
They hover. They just hover.
Yeah, at a very low altitude. He was throwing him out of a helicopter. And it was described at one point the turkeys actually organized. It formed a revolution and started attacking people.
Who's gobbling who now?
So when you have the time, I think you will find it quite humorous if you ever look up on YouTube the just type in WKRP.
All right. It does sound pretty funny from what you have told me. So thank you.
So that's pretty much the gist of that. Uh, when you first started getting into comics in high school, what book or character kind of like pulled you in and made you fall in love with the genre?
The earliest time I got into comics with superheroes was Spider-Man from the funnies as a kid. In truth, I used to try to find that in the newspaper every Sunday. And over time, I got into Batman through Batman the Animated Series and all the other DC superheroes. I believe I watched Adam West Batman first. I got the pleasure of meeting Adam West once. I got an autograph. It was an interesting subject. Just they were nice enough to help me get the autograph, so that was good. That was from the year that there was troubles with the autograph tickets. And let's see, I got into Spider-Man again through the animated series in the '90s. I watched it, and I think more and more I faded away from that, and then got into anime in my teen years.
Mm-hmm.
With Dragon Ball, Toonami playing like for example, there's a good space opera series called Outlaw Star, where they are trying to find the greatest treasure of the universe, the galactic ley line. And by strange coincidence, the key to the ley line ends up falling in their laps, right under their noses. And there was other animes that really stood out too. Let's see. I didn't see Akira until I was a little older. Like I think I got out of high school before that time. Though people told me it was really, really gory. And yes, it is, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't seen it and you have a weak constitution, you should not watch it. And let's see. I got a mess of anime. That I have. I watched Tenchi Muyo on Toonami as well. That was okay, though. It turns out that was actually heavily censored for TV broadcast. I was so surprised. Let's see, what else was there? Dragon Ball just keeps popping up in my head nonstop. And it's like, I know that's not all I saw. I watched Miyazaki movies at one point too. Those are good. Spirit Away apparently though got surpassed in the box office by a new anime movie. I was surprised to hear that.
I remember watching Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, that's what it was. Cowboy Bebop too. I watched that as well.
Because I've heard so much about it, I really want to watch Attack on Titan.
Yeah, the final season just debuted this year.
But I get mad when I finally find it on like one, because I got all the free apps. When I find it on one of the free apps, and I go to watch it, and it doesn't tell you whether it's English dubbed or if it's
or subtitled, yeah,
or subtitled, and I'm like, I don't want to read a movie. If I want to read it, I will just buy the books.
There's one anime I actually watched recently that the dub was terrible. I'm not kidding. Oh my god! Everybody had this crazy accent. There was this little boy on roller skates. For some reason, he's played by a full-grown man. He has a Spanish accent. I mean, every single last person in this movie is supposed to be in Japan, and they're all Japanese. And it's like, why are you doing this? It's like, what were they thinking? It was the best actor though was the villain by far. I can't remember for the life of me what it was. I think I'm just trying to blot out the memory of that terrible movie.
Oh, what else? Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Oh, Evangelion. Yeah, I've seen that. That was on Adult Swim a long time ago. The anime ending was okay, but they kept rebooting it over and over again. They've never finished the new movies as of yet, and well, they get better at time, and there's like a hit or miss or something with that.
I saw a Death Note that came out like about a lot longer than I want to admit, like 10, 15 years ago.
Oh, Code Geass was also okay. Excuse me. That was the story where a disgraced prince is living in Japan and gets the power to control people's minds by eye contact and giving them an order. And through that power, as well as gathering up followers and an army, he eventually conquered the entire world. Wow. That's summing it up a lot of a very, very like a huge plot by like a little amount.
Oh, I liked. My friend Tony got me hooked onto Full Metal Alchemist. I really like that.
Oh yeah, that was definitely good. I saw that in 2004 on Adult Swim. And interestingly enough, when the series had rebooted to be more faithful to the manga plot, that actually debuted in Japan on my birthday. So it was like, ooh, happy birthday to me.
Oh, that's a nice little present.
I will say this, if you want to watch them, watch both of them, see what you think about it. because the manga and the first anime differ after a certain point in the plotline. But the Brotherhood is more faithful to the manga, but also goes a little bit of askew from the first anime too, because the first anime, it actually does take some elements from the manga, like for example the coal miners with that Yoki guy, if I get his name right, and in the anime he's gone. He's disgraced, he's arrested, but in the Brotherhood, which is more faithful to the manga, he ends up becoming a major part of the B plot in the Brotherhood story, which is the manga plot. He is Scar's prisoner slash manservant after he tried to sell him out. It's like he keeps calling him Sir the whole time while he's just sniveling. And there are times he's actually been useful in the story. So anybody who's been curious about it, give them both a try. There are differences, and if you want to see the ending of the first anime, you also got to watch the movie Conqueror of Shambhala, which I also got, which has some similarities in terms of some of the more supernatural elements to what Aniplex did for Darker Than Black season 2. I felt that maybe it was similar because of interdimensional stuff. Darker Than Black was a great anime. Season 1 was better though.
What else did I watch? I actually own this too, so it's kind of weird. Princess Mononoke.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that one. That's a Miyazaki movie. Just a sec.
Yeah, I never pronounce anything right.
That's normal, but not everybody can get that stuff. I mean, I had to learn some of this stuff, and sometimes I just compared it by watching subtitles and just reading it off. I'm like, if anybody's ever watched Dragon Ball Super, you definitely know what I'm talking about. To give you an example, Will, there's at least two characters I can think of. In the Japanese dub, they would call this one guy Hito, but in Japan, that's how they pronounce that, how they say it. And in America, his name was just simply simplified as Hit. Some people liked it, some people didn't. There was also, excuse me, this one guy. I liked his Japanese name better. His name is Topo in Japan. He sounded more like an alien to me when I heard that. But then in the dub, his name is Top. It's like, what? Why
Yeah,
that?
that doesn't make sense.
I mean, that Topo sounds so much cooler than Top. And then there's also this one character. He's kind of Toriyama's take on Superman on some level, because the whole debate of who's stronger, Superman or Goku. And this guy, his name pronounced in Japan in the subs is Jiren, but everyone in the dubs is calling him Jiren. Is like, no, Jiren. Jiren. His name's Jiren. It's just my melodrama of taking over there. Just don't worry about it.
It's fine. Yeah, I mean, I've watched a lot more anime than I've realized, because when I had Netflix, they had started putting like a whole bunch of anime up, because they gotten so many requests for it and everything. And there's a bunch of free apps that I use now, opposed to paying for stuff, because I'm easily entertained.
Yeah, like the Tubi app for one thing.
Yeah, Tubi, Pluto TV.
One point, Crackle had stuff too.
Yeah, IMBD TV. Voodoo, where you can watch a whole bunch of stuff with commercials in it. People like, ew, commercials, and I'm like, ew, get a grip.
It's free. They gotta get it somehow.
You know what? I'd rather pay for it. I go, okay, well, give me $180 a month, and I'll pay for it. If not, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, I've watched some of the animes on Vudu as well. Not everything I really want to watch. I mean, like they have Hunter x Hunter, though I watched some of that on Adult Swim on Toonami already, so it's like, no, I don't need to watch this again. Thanks anyway.
Hmm.
Or let's see what else. What else? I once watched an anime called I think Del Toro Quest or something like that. It's based off of a novel, and it got animated in Japan. That to sum it up, the story got repetitious after a while, so I kind of stopped watching it because everybody, the two male characters kept getting themselves suckered into all these traps, and the girl always keeps not falling for it, and it's just this is getting repetitive. So I just after season two, after a while, I just decided, nope, nope, I'm done. If this is getting to be this predictable, I'm not gonna watch anymore.
Yeah, it's that just sounds to me, guy stupid, girl smart.
One of the best is definitely Death Note, though.
Yeah, there was another one too that what was it? I just got distracted because I completely forgot, and I've never watched. I've I've seen like all the regular seasons of series of Star Blazers, and then somebody goes, "Did you ever see Star Blazers 2199?" I'm like, "What?"
Got a marathon that, huh?
And I'm like, "Oh, you're killing me." But there was one, but it was the animation. It was from a video game. I can't remember the name of it right now. They kind of like find like a monolith on a planet and they bring it up to their ship, and then like lots of bad stuff starts happening.
Sounds like the exposition from Aliens, huh?
Something like that. Uh, I enjoyed Castlevania.
Oh yeah, I definitely watched that. That was worth watching for sure. Got definitely got crazy in season 3. Season 2 was really good too.
I loved the animated Godzilla though. That was great.
Did you see the new Transformers?
Uh,
The War for
I
Cybertron?
Yes, I did. I'm like trying to think, and I'm like, did I? When did I cancel Netflix? No, I saw that. I watched Voltron, and I watched that. Um, I think I've seen almost all of the Ghost in the Shells.
I've only seen the original Ghost in the Shell movie and the standalone complex season 1 and 2 that were on Adult Swim.
I haven't. I've seen the movies. I haven't seen the series yet.
I have not seen the Scarlett Johansson movie, and I really wasn't interested anyway to see it.
Sometimes I sometimes I'll give a movie like that the Baywatch rating, which just means you turn all the sound down and just look at the pretty pictures as they go by. Just kind of like a screensaver while you're doing other things.
From what I did read of the plot, it was basically they rehashed the original anime movie from the 80s and incorporated stuff from the standalone complex series and putting it together. It was just.
So we're gonna mash up these two completely different things because that's great. I'm like, no, it's not.
Not everything works the way we want it to, sadly enough. Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, I've had similar encounters. People like my ideas, but well, unless you wow the right people, you're not going to get it off the ground. That's how it works.
Oh, that works with everything like that.
Yeah, I've met like I told you, I met Kevin Eastman and Steve Levine. Steve
Hmm.
Levine talked to me about the Turtle movies, and I told him a couple ideas that they could have done with Ninja Turtles 3, and he loved them. He loved the idea. I can just tell you the plot twist if you want that I came up with.
Sure, let's have it.
The idea was that they did not succeed to go back to the future with the scepter, and instead are stuck training the villagers to be their own ninja clan and take down the daimyo. When they finally get the scepter, Mikey breaks the scepter, and they all get flung forward into the future by a paradox effect. That it turns out, it doesn't exist in the past, so they can't be flung back into the past from the future. But everything that they did in the past still actually happened. And the twist is that they never figured out what to name their ninja clan. And they got the idea of where to go at it from looking at their footprints of the turtles in the ground. And, well, that implies that they call themselves the Foot Clan.
So, in which point the Turtles actually created the Foot Clan.
Mm-hmm. That's the twist. That would have been a great ending for Ninja Turtles 3, don't you think?
Yeah, but with that plot twist, wouldn't that also mean that the Turtles no longer exist?
No. It's sort of like the same kind of concept of time travel that was in Avengers Endgame. Despite the fact they changed the timeline, it didn't change at the same time. Like, this was all meant to happen, like all predetermined.
A predetermined point in time.
Like, these were cosmic events created by the magic of the scepter.
My Doctor Who logic is starting to kick in. It's a fixed point in time. You cannot change it.
And it was all meant to happen no matter what anyone might have thought. That the Foot Clan is meant to exist, but by magical intervention, that's why they exist. I got all these crazy ideas up in my head, so complex that I can basically make anybody in the room brain fart.
Yeah. I'm like, because then it would become in the future, they're fighting a clan that they trained and brought into existence in the first place.
This idea was actually taken from something they actually did in the comics themselves. That Raphael was flung back in time and trained the founders of the Foot Clan. That's where I got the idea. I thought it'd be a great idea.
Because it already happened.
Mm-hmm.
But it's never come onto the screen, so people like myself that never read the Turtles books watched the occasional cartoon, watched all the movies, and it would be completely new to moviegoers because most of them wouldn't have read it in the book.
I've watched the first 2 shows and all the original 4 movies before Nickelodeon took them over. I tried watching the new 2012 series when it came out, but season 1 I stopped. I wasn't too impressed with it.
As soon as I started watching like the newer stuff, and it only took me a few minutes to go, nope.
Yeah, there was one episode that really got to me, the Metalhead one, that Donatello wanted to upgrade his weapon, and I thought, you could just take all that technology and make a better bow staff out of that, but instead he invents Metalhead. And then the alien hijacks it, and what's the first thing that they do when one of the aliens hijacked it? They try to destroy the robot and not once attack the alien that is a sitting bullseye on top of the diminutive robot's head. It's like, it's shorter than them, and just a simple bonk on the noggin or a smack, and it's over. He's just standing there taking it like a punching bag, and they never once tried to hit the alien. That was just weird.
Yeah, there's all kinds of different things.
I've also once saw their Super Shredder, and it's just his weakness was too obvious.
Mm.
I will say this: I've always wanted to do a Dragon Fruit mashup with the Ninja Turtles. I have been writing in for fun when I need exercise to just expand some ideas, just write on that story.
Mm.
My character gets flung into the world of the turtles, and the twist is that he's a fan from them growing up. Whoop, something just fell. It's okay. And he just plays it off saying like, "Oh, I knew you growing up in a different universe." That's how, and they just accepted it. I even had a moment where April actually thought that my character Kai was her and Casey's son from the future. Is like, "Oh no, we're not related." And Casey's just having a blank vacant stare. Like, what? What's going on here? How could you think this kid was my son? And then there was a whole joke about Donatello speaking up, saying, "Well, there's a chance. I mean, everybody with blue eyes is technically related, and by the way they look, that he could be a distant relative of April." And then my character, he stops Donatello and said, "Unless you have something to go on with this, we have to stop." And Donatello says, "Fine, I'll get some DNA samples later."
I did read because I reviewed them. I did read all the various volumes of Batman and the Batman crossover with Ninja Turtles. That was really good.
Oh yeah, the movie was also good too. Have you read anything revolving around the Three Jokers plot?
I pretty much know what goes on. I actually haven't gotten my hands on any of those books yet. They're waiting for me at the shop, but I ran into some bills I had to get caught up on, so I wasn't able to pick up books for a couple of months.
That happens.
You know,
I did hear about the story. I was like, "Whoa, this was really good." I loved how they ended it too.
but it's technically not ended because now they're going to come back and do a one shot.
Well, they just basically determine who's the real Joker. I love that the twist of who the real Joker was at the end. I'm not going to say for anyone who hasn't read it yet. I want to make sure I don't spoil anything for you folks watching.
I'm just like scrolling through Tubi now because now you got me. There's something on there that I've watched and I really love that I can't think of the name on, and these next two titles aren't it, but I've watched them as well. I really liked Afro Samurai. And,
oh yeah, I saw that.
And Wicked City.
Saw that too.
I think I actually own Wicked City on DVD somewhere.
Let's see what. Have you ever watched the anime movie Blackjack? That was by Osamu Tezuka's manga Blackjack.
No, I haven't seen that.
Well, I don't know if it's still available, but you can watch the dubbed version free on the Roku channel, on the Roku app.
Oh, cool. Well, I've got both of those. I have a Roku TV. It's buried behind a bunch of boxes right now.
Yeah, it should be there.
I downloaded the Roku app onto my Fire Stick. So
it's got a good cast. It's got Kirk Thornton as Dr. Blackjack, Mary Elizabeth McGlynn playing Joe Brain, who's a woman, and let's see. I also heard Steve Bloom in there, who has done background characters like he was doing the announcer for the Olympics, and he's often said that some of the best voice acting jobs are playing the background characters because everybody needs to have a background character in their show. Like it helps.
Yeah, you need background characters.
What's really interesting about Joe Brain, she strongly resembles the character Alex Wesker from Resident Evil. I'm not talking about Albert Wesker. I'm talking about his surrogate sister from the Wesker program, Alex Wesker, like Alexis or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
She and Joe Brain have a lot in common. They're, aside both being voiced by the same woman, They're both about trying to tap into the limitless potential in people and trying to make a legacy for themselves. Though they're both willing to do inhumane human experimentation in order to achieve that goal. I won't spoil too much. If you want to see this movie, I will not spoil too much.
Yeah, I'll probably look for it to see if I can still watch it. If it's still up there.
If you, I think,
If it's on Roku, I'll just scroll through,
it should
and
be. You can just search for it.
as I'm scrolling through Roku through their anime, be like, oh, there it is. I'll like completely forget about it, but no, I wanted to look at anime for some reason.
Yeah,
And
if it'll help, Blackjack is a man with two-tone hair. One half of it is white, the other half is black, and he has a noticeable scar with discoloration on one side of his face. He apparently got an accident as a kid.
Hmm.
He's an underground surgeon. He's not licensed or anything like that, but he's highly respected and highly praised for his surgical skills in the operating room.
oh,
It was based around how Tezuka wanted to be a doctor himself. Originally, from what I read, he wanted to be a gynecologist.
up to his elbows in work.
And then some.
I also own a copy of Jinro, which I'm sure I'm pronouncing wrong too.
Jinro the Wolf Brigade.
Yep.
Right? I've seen that one.
Of course, I'm a big Captain Harlock fan, so
I saw some
Arcadia
of
or
that.
my youth, and the new one was fantastic.
The last thing I watched revolving around Harlock was the end of Galaxy Express 999, the movie. That Captain Harlock was in that one.
No, this was a well, it's not new. It's got to be like
Computer animated, right?
Yeah, the computer animated one.
Oh, I saw that. I saw that too.
I was like, I stumbled across that. I'm like, what? I was like, this is awesome. Oh, speaking of which, I just stumbled across Blackjack on Tubi as well.
Yeah, I believe that there's a TV show and the subtitled movie on Tubi as well.
Yeah, this just says Blackjack from the creator of Astro Boy, which of course I also watched.
There's also Astro Boy on Hulu, the one that came out in like 2000. That one is really well animated. The values are really beautiful on that one.
Yeah, I saw that when it came out. I enjoyed that one a lot. Yeah, this might be a Blackjack movie because there's no, otherwise it's usually like highlighted by like a season or something.
I tried watching the Blackjack TV show. It's okay, but all the characters are, well, everybody, despite the fact this show is in Japan, excuse me. Everybody's got English names. It's one of those types of animes. Though you do learn some interesting stuff about medical terms and in the drama, at least. That's one of the cool parts about that story.
I watched this other one that I will pronounce yet another anime title wrong. Mushishi.
Actually, you pronounced that right.
Oh wow.
That was about Mushishi. That was about a guy with white hair and one green eye, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And how he's basically encountering all people with the Mushi in the story.
Mm-hmm.
I watched the first season of the anime a long time ago. It's definitely interesting, to say the least. It's more of a calmer than usual anime, and the music is really soothing.
Wow, I just stumbled across this. I have never seen this. This looks fairly new to me. because it wasn't the 70s, the 80s version. I just stumbled across Guy the Guy King movie.
I have never seen anything like that. I know Ray would love that one. I know that for sure.
Guy King, Legend of Dakimoro. Looks like either 2005 or 2006. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that tonight now. Just a one shot movie.
Let's see. Oh, there's also one movie I would recommend to anybody who likes Miyazaki movies. Try the movie Castle of Cagliostro. It's Miyazaki's first ever animated movie, featuring the character Lupin III. He was originally an animator for the show back when it was much younger. I think back in like the 60s or the 70s or something like that. It was his first real anime movie where he got to direct. I recommended that to a lot of people. It's much different from how the author has done it. It's a lot more about the story and less about the raunchy humor in there. But it's well done, and Miyazaki just shows how the little things in his animations are so significant. How he narrates it in the story. It's about how Lupin is trying to rescue the princess from this evil count who is trying to force her into marriage while trying to acquire a treasure that has been handed down from the family for generations.
I remember I bought years ago now. I bought it just because it was Star Trek, but they had started releasing some Star Trek manga stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Where they were doing all the characters as much younger, kind of like J.J. Abrams' run on the movies there, where everybody was like, young and
just starting out.
Yeah, just getting started and everything. And of course, the artwork was fantastic. So I'm like, these are cool. I'll give you both of them for $10. Okay. So I kept one and I gave one to a friend of mine for Christmas that year. So I was like, here, have a new Star Trek book.
That works. Priced, but I recently read the last one and I got it on digital. I couldn't bring myself to open up the books I got because they're first printing. You want to hold on to those the best you can.
No. You wanna open it up wide, read the book, and then roll it up, put it in your back pocket, and ride your bike to your friend's house so you can show them what you just got.
I'll do that with the third printing, okay?
It was flat when I got it.
There's actually one comic I've held a long time. A friend I got it from. It got sat on by accident when I left it on my desk as a kid, but I still hold on to it even to this day because it's just a memento from a friend who died a long time ago. It was just basically Spider-Man and Nova versus the Tri-Sentinel, round 2. I also have a copy of when Spider-Man turns into Captain Universe to take down the Tri-Sentinel after Loki fused 3 Sentinels that Sebastian Stan created.
I remember that. I think because they're all put away now, but I've got a good chunk of the original Nova run.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the crossover issue with Spider-Man and Angel that crossed over to Peter Parker and ended there. And I actually got to read for the first time since I was a kid the original supervillain team up, the final issue, which was Magneto versus Doctor Doom.
Oh, that would have been interesting.
And that book continued in the next to last issue of the original run of the Champions.
I wonder who won that fight. Master of Magnetism versus versing a guy covered in head to toe in magical metal. That
Well,
would be interesting.
basically, what had happened is Doom built all these giant receptacle tanks out in back of Castle Latveria,
Hmm.
and had been releasing this invisible gas all over the planet for months, and basically had the entire planet under control.
Oh, not to spoil anything for anyone else watching, but have you actually gotten to see the trailer for the Loki series for Disney Plus yet?
No, I
You
don't think
should. I saw somebody in there, a silhouette that just made me think, "Oh, is that him? Is that him?" And given the Phase 5 announcement, I'm almost certain it might have been this person that it looks to be. Though, if I'm wrong, okay. And have you heard anything about what's going to go on with the new Spider-Man movie coming up?
Oh, you mean the live version of Into the Spider Verse?
Yeah, the Tom Holland threequel.
And look, if they don't do a live version of the meme of the 1960s Spider-Mans pointing at each other in this movie, it's going to be a complete waste of time.
They'll probably do it. I was
They
hoping for the longest time though that there would be a Spidey Pool movie. Spider-Man and Deadpool for the world, right? That would have been funny as hell.
a Spidey Pool movie. Hey, it's possible. You know, the magical world of Disney. Well, if we have to compete with you, we're just going to buy your company.
They did say that Deadpool 3 is actually going to be linked to Avengers Endgame, from what I have heard. That apparently he thinks that all the time traveling he did at the end of Deadpool 2 caused the snap. And he's trying to travel through time in order to make up for it. Like, fix everything that he can. And that just causes a lot of craziness as the story goes. I have also been hearing that there probably might be X-Men characters coming out eventually in the new Disney Plus shows as well. And I'm hoping that I want to see that so badly. I've been waiting so long to have X-Men just finally come back.
And everybody's desperate for a good X-Men movie and a good Fantastic Four movie.
Because Fox just wanted to keep rolling them out whether they were good or not.
Didn't care. Now, did you get a chance to see the New Mutants movie?
I have not. I have not been told good things, but I have not gotten to see it. No.
Okay. I enjoyed it. I've actually watched it like 3 times now.
Is it on Disney Plus right now?
No,
Oh, then I probably haven't seen it yet. I
it's
have watched Mandalorian though. That was really good with the season finale.
oh yeah, you know the big Star Wars movies. Here's the Luke you're getting. He's not going to do anything. He's in a pity party, and then Mandalorian. And here's the Luke you deserve.
Yep. The whole problem with that one was the three movies were not planned anyway in advance. They just
Yeah,
changed it with each director, so that was the cause of that.
they just threw them all together, and of course the last one there was
Rise of Skywalker.
yeah, it was just basically a they changed a lot of stuff to um, praise Carrie upon her, because she had passed. So
Carrie Fisher, yeah.
yeah, so they changed a lot of stuff. So it was a lot of that was just like trying to pander to the fans, and then they they stepped way too far over the pandering line, and
I had seen parts of it, but I couldn't watch all of it. I just couldn't bring myself to it. I did watch the end, though I found it weird that, well, why didn't she just heal him? Why didn't she just heal him at the end too, and just sort of even their energy out between the two of them so that they both survive?
mm-hmm. But
I just these are the things I always question as a writer. I wonder, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? If they're going to do it this way, at least explain it so that way it'll make people satisfactory with it. I mean, that's why I love the ending to the Three Jokers storyline so much, because they did that. They actually went out of their way to explain why they did this, why it went this direction, and why we'll never understand entirely. For example, why we'll never know the real name of the Joker. I won't spoil.
because we should never really know the name of the Joker.
Oh yeah, obviously people still want to know, but at the same time, because of the way it was done, we can't know because there is a reason. That's why it's never known. That's why it was so good.
I've liked so many of the Black Labels, so much of the Black Label stuff. I haven't obviously gotten it all. I got the first issue and only the first issue of Frank Miller writes the same old Superman story that's been told a million times
mm-hmm.
with John Romita Jr. And I'm like, this is terrible. It looks terrible. It read terrible. But outside of that, I mean, I know I've got that put away. I've got the Jokers put away. A bunch of the Harley and Joker ones put away. The Jeff Lemire Joker Black Label story was great. And
I think the weirdest character,
interesting twist.
Yeah. I think the weirdest character that came out from Batman lately was the Batman Who Laughs, a Jokerized Bruce Wayne from another universe.
Yeah, and he seems to be the new DC Venom.
I did have one interesting thought that I'm sure you probably read. I posted that when I thought about it, if they managed to catch him and just have a Bruce Wayne from a different universe donate their genes, they could just use gene therapy to cure him. He could be turned back into Bruce Wayne, and he'd no longer have any traces of the Joker left in him.
Yeah, but then DC couldn't sell a bunch of books where they just put him in it because their sales are lacking.
That's true. I mean, there's also a version of Batman where he is actually Doomsday among the villain Batman.
Mm-hmm. Red Death, where he steals the Speed Force after he kills Barry Allen. Not Bruce Wayne because it's a girl, but there's the Aquaman one, there's a Green Lantern one.
There was also one story where Bane teamed up with Thomas Wayne Batman.
Yeah, that was just crazy. I've got like a handful of the Joker War series over on my table, but I haven't read it because I don't have all the issues lined up yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still chasing down some of the tie-ins. I've got a few of them, but they wanted to turn around and make the final issue of Batgirl a key issue, so people couldn't actually buy it to read the end of the of her part of that story. So,
go back to Star Wars. Did you know that with Luke's fight against the Dark Troopers was supposed to be an homage to Darth Vader's fight against the rebels through the hallway at the end of Rogue One.
Yeah, because I saw I shared the video that has Vader on top and not Luke down the bottom, and it pretty much mirrors all the movements and everything that they did.
I actually will admit this. In a new story arc I'm working on with Dragon Fruit is actually going to mirror that sort of, and also be a slight homage to Tetsuo Shima rampaging through the hospital in Akira, where he's basically causing tremendous amounts of psychic destruction in the hospital.
Yeah, I couldn't forget that. That was
Yeah, we're going dumb,
yep,
dumb with
yep.
the voice with the people singing.
The music, and the chorus in the background.
Yeah, that was intense.
It's just an unforgettable movie.
But yeah, I'm doing something that when I visualized it in my head was identical to those two situations. It's not that I came up with the idea of doing that, but it's more like my visualization was very similar. Sometimes I just get these images in my head that can be so well narrated that I could practically just take a photo of it with my pen on paper. That's what I do with that sometimes.
Just scribble it down and work it into a story.
That's what I've been doing. Some of my characters that I've created, like in Dragon Fruit, Kione, the lead girl, she was based around a dream I had. When I was 22 and I was going to work, I just visioned this really beautiful girl that I thought would be perfect for a leading lady. And a recent character I also posted, excuse me. Her name is Gina. She's a witch. She's been recently posted on my Instagram. She's actually going to have a role, and I'm announcing this now to everybody, but she's going to be in Dragon Fruit, okay? So if you want to see what she looks like, go ahead and look on my Instagram and take a look at her, okay? There's only a couple of photos. There's the original and a recent one where she's dressed up in this cute red kimono.
You can follow Brian at Brian the Artist 1112 at Instagram. That is also in the show notes up above or down below, and as well as the links to be able to purchase Dragon Fruit and
Dream Sprites.
There we go. I knew Sprites, and I'm like,
I know you're thinking soda, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I'm thirsty now.
Everybody likely thinks that at some point, I'm sure. But
so the link for both those books are in the show notes. Brian's Instagram is in the show notes, as well as it's been scrolling down the bottom of the screen this entire time, so you should have been able to remember that by now. And you can go follow him on Instagram and see some cool Last Ronin artwork, because now there's technically more covers. See, if you make the prints the right size, you can just put them over, one of your comics and just slide it in there and goes, I bet you don't have this cover.
Or I could just take a sketch cover and draw on it.
Yeah, well, that too, yeah. There's plenty of them floating around.
One day I'll get more of that stuff. I would, if anybody, basically, if I wow the right person, we'll see what happens, right?
You never know. You never know.
I've also met some interesting people like Arthur Studham, who is the founder of the Marvel Zombieverse. He was very nice.
Oh yeah, I met him. I actually have a somewhere down yonder. I have a signed Marvel Zombie print from him.
I got one from him where Deadpool is referencing the Nirvana album, and he is trying to reach for a taco on a.
Whoops, we just lost him. I hope that wasn't me. Nope, that was me.